Hello, and welcome to the spoiler overview of my Dragonlance 5e Homebrew campaign. Now, this video will contain warning. This video will contain spoilers. So if you don't want to watch it, go and watch the spoiler-free one, but there's not much on it. So what do we know so far? From these, if you've probably seen the spoiler-free video, that the players are sent to retrieve this item by Knight Islamnia, who wants to keep it secret. You know, it says it will help end the war, basically. And the thing I forgot to add is that he warns the players not to use it. And when he's sending them on is after this magical orb. Now, some have guessed and already figured out that that what they're questing for is a dragon orb. So those who are not familiar with Dragonlance lore, a dragon orb was forged by all three color robed wizards, strongest of their time, and during when the three moons were together, they took the spirits of the most ferocious, fiercest chromatic dragons and imprisoned in 5 orbs, each in 5 orbs. And these orbs, what they do is they have the power to control all chromatic dragons. So, pretty powerful stuff. But they can do other things too, like they can predict the future, they can give you information on it, they can cast certain spells with it, like teleport. But our main antagonist, the Lord of the Marsh, is after it because basically he wants the answer to a question. And he wants to know, well, he has an objective, and he wants to know how he can perform it and get it done. And the orb is the only thing that has the answers he seeks. So he seeks this orb. And basically what he wants to do is bring the world to an end. So remember when I said the events are going to keep happening when the players don't do anything? So it's not something that the players can actually avoid, because if the world ends and they do nothing, then that's their fault. That was their choice. But that's into phase 2, act 2. I'll get more into that later. So yeah, it's basically a really powerful item. But it's going to require a DC 25 Arcana check to use it. And this is not the Dragon Orb from the DMG. This is the Dragon Orb from Dragonlance. So it would basically go through the same. If they fail their Arcana check, same thing will happen to them as in the books as the same thing that happened to the king of the Sylvanesti elves. Which, those who know, it's pretty horrifying. So, and there's a reason I warned the players not to use it. When I say not to use something, I try to. And there's going to be warnings throughout the story, like from certain characters to books that are about it, to warn them not to use this item. But I really originally wanted to do this campaign because I wanted to do, well, there's 2 campaigns I always wanted to do. I always wanted to tell a story centered around this item because it's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly interesting. Yeah, it's the lore about it. It's fascinating. I knew if I did a Dragonlance campaign, I wanted to do a campaign around this item. Second, I always wanted to tell a story of the world coming to an end on a campaign, and the players trying to stop it. So that's why I did that. And I did mention there were 3 acts, and there was another villain, possibly, if they get there. But the question is, why is the Lord of March doing this? Well, he's a Sylvanesti elf, and Sylvanesti elves have a prejudice to all races because they seem imperfect, and elves are perfect, especially the Sylvanesti elves. So they're like a blight to this world. But he discovered, someone wanted to rub in his face that his race was not perfect. So they did that, and instead of having the effect of realizing, maybe they actually accept people that are imperfect, he went continued with his prejudices and took a more extreme approach to saying, if one race is not imperfect and all races are imperfect, then none deserve to live. And hence why he's wanting to destroy this world. It's just a retribution, as it will. In case you're wondering, the Knight of Solamnia that sends him on this quest is not evil. He knows what it is. It just wants it because he believes he's just doing the greater good. So there's several ways this can go about. One, they try to activate the item and they're thrown into a nightmare where they continuously die a lot until they break free. Or I send an NPC to break them free, depending on how well they do. But it will leave whoever tries to activate the orb in a dismal state. And I had this side quest if one of the players died, or if they got incredibly injured, they would seek the blue crystal staff, the staff of Mishako, the goddess of healing. So I thought that was and that would send him straight to Zerift, which I thought that would be really fun, especially those who are fans of Dragonlance. So there's like little bits like that. They can explore different things like Dorgar Keep, which is the home domain of Lord Zoff. But he's not going to bother them unless they bother him. And since the way he's created, he has power where kill. I'll probably kill off one of the players and then send him on a quest to resurrect him. You see, that's the thing about my command. When you die, you just don't immediately get brought back. You have to do a whole quest and so forth to bring them back. So you have to make an effort to bring them back. If the player wants to be brought back, that is. If the players bring it back, the dragon orb to the knight, and he's going to use it, and things are going to go wrong in the city they're in. So there's that. Yeah, but I wanted to do such a long trip, and because I wanted to put in their character arcs within the trip there, so there's several warnings. And there's these side quests where they can get legendary magic items from the books, and I thought up of one I wanted to do if I wanted a player to play an elf, and if they played an elf and they may not choose an elf because for some reason elves are unpopular. I don't know why. But they would be sent on a quest where they go to the tomb of Tanis, and don't ask the logic of it. It just somehow managed to get there. He presents 2 swords to him, and these are the swords he wielded in life. And a player gets to choose one of these long swords. They're both magical. And they get to wield them for the rest of the campaign. Unless they sell it or something. And they are Wormslayer and Wormsbane. So there's things like that. Or they can get the magical staff of Magius that was wielded by Raceland Magir. Or they can obtain things like that. So there's little side quests in there. In there that hints at them getting a chance to get a magic item. Now, I'm going by Adventure League rules, where they can only have 3 stay attuned to 3 magic items. So I think that was a fun little quest that I can do. So basically, how he's going to end the world if the Lord of Marsh gets what he wants, it's basically it's talked about in the books, but it's not really explored. Is that he has to obtain the 3 keys of the high gods. So it goes from one item quest to another item quest to get these 3 keys. So you have Paladine, Gillian, and Dekesis. And stop them. So and that's really fun. So I'm going to have them travel to 3 temples of the gods and so forth. And they have to bring it to Eastar, to the Maelstrom, to the main temple of that houses all 3 gods. I believe that's correct. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But, yeah, so things like that. And so in the 3rd act, they have to deal with an unnatural force that's causing the war, and they don't know who's causing it or why, and so forth. And I haven't put much thought into it yet, but I probably will later. But, well, I haven't done much with it. But I wanted to do this because I thought this would be the coolest thing in the world. And basically, it turns out that Gillian, the high god of neutrality and knowledge, is behind the war in order to keep things in balance. Because if the land ends up in peace, it favors the Paladine. But if it's in chaos, it favors Dekesis. So they have to be constantly in flux in a war that never ends to keep things balanced. In other way, that's the way he sees things. So I thought it'd be fun to end the 3rd act with them finding out one of the high gods. And I thought, they don't do much with Gillian, so it would be interesting to do something with him. So, yeah, that's pretty much the campaign I have so far. I mean, there's all these wondrous items. There's all these wondrous adventures they can go on. They can do all these things. I think it has a pretty interesting plot. So thank you for watching my spoiler overview of my Dragonlance 5e homebrew campaign. This is Zerift signing off.